So, The Coffee Table, probably one of the most talked about horrors over the last couple of years, probably for the wrong reasons. When I say that, I mean it's controversial. It is a fantastic film. Dan is here, we are Balls on Film, and we're talking about this Blu-ray release. It's a Blu-ray release and a limited box set as well, so get your hands on this, because it's a fantastic package. First of all, got to say thank you to Second Sight Films as well. It is a fantastic package. It's very similar to the House of the Devil one, which we're going to do separately. Same size, same box, same kind of similar idea, with the book and the postcards, the art cards. But let's talk about the coffee table.
It makes me want to go back to physical media, Phil. I miss it.
Oh, I know. We were just talking about that, weren't we? Because you've downsized. I mean, I have as well. I've put a lot of the old Blu-rays and DVDs that I've had in carrier bags, and just to try and save space.
I was thinking about this last week of just missing the days of going to HMV and just looking through the horror section and grabbing films that always were on TV and you never recorded them, and you just don't get that anymore. Coming back with your HMV bag and
I'm older than you. I would probably say something like, "Oh, I miss the days of going to Blockbuster."
I remember Blockbuster. I'm going down and choosing two. You always choose two films, one that you really wanted to watch, and then there was another like any old crap that you'd pick.
So The Coffee Table, then, we've previously reviewed this, so check the link at the end, and also we'll put it down in the description as well. It's a wickedly original horror film. Wicked as in, it probably features one of the moments that you would just dread if you're in a real life situation. I guess we could talk about it now, can't we? Because it's been out a while.
I think we should, and ultimately, if you're watching a DVD review of it, I'm either don't watch this or go and watch it first. But I think we should do spoilers because it's really hard to talk about it. I actually can't believe now I've watched this 3 times because I remember my first review thinking I loved it, but I would never go back. And then I made Chris watch it, and now I've watched it again because of the Blu-ray. So it's so entertaining to watch this with someone else who hasn't seen it. And actually, I think there's a whole another path for this film, which is I'm just going to sit and watch your reaction.
I take a lot of pleasure from that. I take a lot of pleasure of seeing how people deal with situations like in this movie, because of course this movie, I'd read, you hadn't, because you didn't know what was going to happen. I had before I watched it for the first time, and I've seen it twice now. And the second time I could enjoy it more because I thought it was a very clever film, very intelligent, because they deal with a lot of very taboo subjects, or they deal with the taboo subject of what happens when your child's head gets taken off in an accident, and they deal with it in quite a sensitive way, which is quite a funny thing to say because obviously it is quite brutal.
And actually, I think seeing it a second time, knowing what was going to happen, I had a lot more of appreciation for the acting, kind of the other nuances, because I think when you're watching it for that first time, all of my energy was spent on, oh God, what's going to happen next? Oh, and it was so uncomfortable. There's that whole section where I forget the wife's name now, but she's just laughing at him relentlessly about...
Oh my God, it's maniacal, isn't it?
It is. It's about the fact that the coffee table has broken, and it's brilliant. I think that's the bit that Chris really mentioned, and it made me think, oh yeah, that is... she is just awful, and yet you really feel sorry for her, and the whole thing is heartbreaking, and yet everyone's really flawed.
Absolutely, that's why I think it's really clever, because it plays on your emotions, and it makes you ask the question, what would I do in the same situation? I mean, I'm not a parent, so I can't say exactly what emotions I go through, but it's, at the end of the day, it is the death of someone that is in your family, which is just heartbreaking and traumatic. And it's interesting you said that about that scene, because that's one of the standout scenes for me. But there's a brilliant moment in the commentary of this, which is Zoe Rose Smith, who's a writer and a podcast host, and Amber T, who's a staff writer at Fangoria. They mention it as well, because they say it's one of those moments where she almost comes across as quite demonic with her reaction to him, because they're not getting on, that couple that are featured in this, that have the baby.
There's a really good shot of her in shadow, and she looks like a witch, almost that kind of quality to it. And it's wonderful because it really plays with you that, well, she's the bad guy. She really isn't actually. He is a pretty useless husband, and there is stuff going on that kind of, they shouldn't really be together at this point. And this film, I think it's funny because you talk about it as being, people say, it's the most disturbing horror film. You don't see anything. It's not graphic, really. it's more of this is a human drama, and it's like human at the most core sense of something so awful happening, and what kind of natural reaction are you going to have to that?
I don't know about you, Dan, but I think that's the best kind of horror, because I think horror should tap into your fears and your anxiety, and it does make you very sweaty palmed, this film, because you're going through it with them almost like in real time.
Absolutely. I think we spoke about The Rule of Jenny Penn, I think about a month ago, and it's similar. Yeah, it's like, it's real life anxiety. It's just, I could see and feel myself in that situation, and I don't know how I deal with it. Whereas, being chased around by a serial killer, probably not going to happen. Fingers crossed.
Well, I mean, there's fun in that as well. I mean, fun in watching it on screen, not actually physically in real life.
Absolutely. But yeah, I think to call it a disturbing horror film actually, I think, puts people off for the wrong reason. Because
do you know what? I thought that because there was such a buzz about this, and yes, it's granted because it's a brilliant film, but I think I was kind of expecting to see more, and you don't, and I'm glad about that because it's done in a really smart way. But I mean, we should say for people that are watching that don't know anything about this film, it's Caye Casas who's the director. He's come up with this film, and he's co-written it with Cristina Borobia. So the story, briefly summing up the story, it's a couple who aren't really getting on. They have a baby, and the baby is brought home, and the mother goes off to buy some shopping, sees her friends, and they're all very kind of like, the friends are saying, you've just had how's the baby doing? And of course they buy this new coffee table. They go to the salesman, and there's a screw that's missing,
because the guy who sold it to him is on his way over to deliver the screw.
The glass comes off the table, and when the baby's on the floor,
the guy doesn't really do anything wrong. It's more the fact that the whole thing starts with a huge row between the couple about this really hideous coffee table.
It's the chaos ensues afterwards, and the situations that are funny, because there's a neighbour next door. She's, I don't know, a teenage girl, and she's making allegations against him that he's flirting with her. So there's that comes into it, as well as the chaos of what's happened to the baby.
Yeah, I mean, there's layers of other stuff, and it is funny. I mean, it genuinely, I know it's a dark comedy, but the comedy is good. And the fact that it's all taking place in such an awful situation, I think, amps it up. And yeah, there's all that stuff with the salesman as well, which opens the film, it's quite absurdist in some ways.
Have you had a chance to see any of the special features on the box set?
I did. I watched a couple of the documentaries, actually. I watched kind of the interview with the main actor, which is really interesting.
Oh, right. I haven't got to that one yet, but I've listened to the commentary with the writers, the podcast hosts, which is great. Really good fun.
Oh, great. I mean, I love a director's commentary, and those are probably the things I'm going to go and do. It's just obviously watch the film again. Something like 4th time seeing it. 5th.
I think they're really good. A really good choice, because they're essentially saying what I was kind of thinking, was that it's a really hard film to recommend because of the subject matter. Once you know what that is, you kind of feel a bit like, I'm not sure if I enjoy the thought of that. But they're kind of laughing at it, because what I just said about it's the chaos of the situation, and they picked out all the things that I thought as well. It was almost like-minded commentary of what I was thinking when watching the film. So it's really interesting.
Now, right? That's kind of what you want. It's lovely to hear about how the film was made, but I also just want to sit alongside another film fan and pick out.
Yeah, because they clearly love the film. That's the thing, and they know a lot about horror. They know a lot about the genre, because that's their job. They write about it and they enthuse about it on podcasts. So I think they're the perfect people to run the commentary.
Yeah, and I really hope people are watching this that, like, please give it a go. I think kind of try and ignore anything you've heard about it, because I think if you don't know what it's about, then you've got to go in blind. If you do, then try and shake off some of the apprehension about why you might not want to see it, because it's not graphic. It's all about the human condition and the drama of the situation. So.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of good short films as well. The director's short films, R.I.P. and Nada S.A., which 15 minutes each. They're really good. They're really worth seeing if you're a fan of him as a filmmaker. It obviously comes in the usual Blu-ray case, but you do get some really nice art cards, which I have shown on another film that I've recorded, so you can see those properly on the other one. Nice. I mean, all color coded with the actual release, the artwork on the cover. It all kind of fits nicely with the book, and it's because
what's in the book? Essays,
storyboards.
gorgeous.
Which is really interesting if you want to see the process from the beginning.
It's probably why I don't buy many Blu-rays. I have to be so obsessive about a film to want to really go that deep. Like The Shining is my favourite film, and I still haven't started the making of book that I bought back in January. But I mean, I just love the thought of it is like putting all that effort into something like this.
Yeah,
you don't get
I mean, these are really well done. I love it that it all goes in one box, and it's the same with the House of the Devil as well. You know, they thought about not space saving, but they thought about, you know, because other boxes you see, stuff is all over the place, or it's too big. You just want to put it on your shelf. You don't want to.
Yeah, a friend of mine collects
get it
them,
out every time.
There are ones that come in like the kind of 3D boxes, which are fun initially, but they just look so messy. And you kind of have to
bit of a faff to get in and out.
Exactly.
So a really nice package. Obviously, we'll talk about the House of the Devil one as well as a separate video. Yeah, created with passion, I would say, these box sets, if you like those films.
And for a film like that, actually, I'm so surprised it's getting such a quick Blu-ray release. I mean, we're sort of in the era now. I know Barbarian, which is one of my favourite horrors from the last few years, still doesn't have any physical release at all. So to get,
I love that movie as well.
It's so good. So to get not only a release, but a really well thought out one with cover art and actual extras. I mean, it feels again like we're back to the early days of DVD sometimes with DVDs where it's interactive menus and scene selection are kind of all you get. And so, yeah, I appreciate the effort.
So it's the coffee table. Look out for our stuff on Instagram, by the way, and Dan's as well with Nancy Boys covering a lot of stuff. I'm sure that they'll be posted on your channel too. But we will be posting a lot of stuff on Instagram as we get through the features, because there's so much stuff to watch and we haven't seen all of it.
There's a lot coming in the next few weeks.
Excellent. So keep your eyes peeled and we'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Good to see you, Dan. See you next time.
Thanks, Phil.